Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with King and Sharif. I'm King.
I'm Sharif.
And tonight we are talking toxic relationships.
Toxic relationships.
Yes.
Had a few.
I have too. I think there's levels to it. Levels of toxicity, if that's the word.
What's level one, the easiest toxic to deal
Nah, I think the top tier toxic is like probably domestic abuse. That's, domestic abuse, or something was brought to my attention this weekend. I also think that, and some of y'all might not believe in this, but someone trying to mess with someone's free will as far as like doing love work because they're desperate, that's a toxic situation too. Yeah. Things like that happen all the time. When you start messing with somebody's free will or putting your hands on them, that's pretty
right.
That's pretty gangster.
Yep.
And then I would say emotional abuse is toxic.
Like cussing a person
out and just being overly critical of somebody, or like putting them down, or trying to separate them from their friends and family and making them, the other person the center of their life. I think that's
a lot of women do that. I don't know why, but a lot of women.
What do you mean?
Like try to divide you from your family.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know, because a lot of men are mama's boys. I don't know. I mean, I've always found like that to be, maybe not in my case, but I always seen a lot of men go through that. Where like the woman don't want them to hang around the homeboys and the
Well, I can understand not necessarily wanting your significant other to not hang out with his homeboys, especially if his homeboys ain't shit. I can understand that, but their family though, his own family, I never could understand that.
Oh, that goes on a lot, where where a woman tries to keep the man away from the mama's house and the brothers, the homeboy. Oh, I'm going with my homeboys or whatever. Oh, you don't never spend time with me. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be that kind of thing.
You shaking your head, Harry? What do you mean? What's tea?
I've seen it. Yeah, it's common. It's in a lot of relationships. Like I can tell you straight up. You know what I'm saying? Me and my little brother don't even talk to this day. Like, and we probably ain't talked in 5 years, and I really do feel like his marriage was the reason why. You know what I mean? But it's their fault. It's his fault why that happened. But you know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I mean?
Now,
yeah.
So is that toxic, or is that something happened and she doesn't want him to come around?
No,
because I think,
when you mean toxic, what's your definition of toxic? So I don't be off subject.
But what's your definition of toxic?
It's just a crazy relationship. Just like it's a lot of arguing going on.
Yeah, so I think a toxic relationship is someone. An ideal relationship is not going to come with any confusion or any drama, right. Like not unnecessary drama, because there, you can't control what people outside of your relationship do, but right. Between the two of you, the actual couple, if you're doing toxic shit to each other, like causing unnecessary drama, not telling the truth, and I feel like
that's toxic too. Yeah.
Omitting stuff. You didn't tell the truth, but you didn't tell me everything. Yeah, that I feel like that's toxic.
That's lying, not telling everything.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's toxic.
But I think toxic is too, like not letting a person fulfill their dreams. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I just like if you put a woman and they don't want you to like pursue your dream. Like say you wanted to like own a club or something, and they just like constantly pulling up to the club with, trying to see who you talking to, or, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen it, like, my buddy of mine owned a club, and his woman was just making a whole lot of noise outside all the time, wanting to fight some people and things. That just don't want you to, fulfill your dreams.
All right, so Let's unpack that a little bit. She could just have been like a toxic individual and could have been a little crazy, or I'm looking at, I can only give you the woman's perspective, or she could be looking at it as if she's reacting to something that's happened before and she don't, the trust level ain't there.
Could be. It could be. I'm not saying every situation. I'm just saying some of the ones I've seen. Toxic, like woman don't want to work, want to stay in school. Like,
what's toxic about?
I think that's
take care of you.
Yeah, I mean, like,
what's wrong with that?
If y'all got that agreement, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I think toxic is like a switch up. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, one thing was gonna be one way, and then it was, and then all of a sudden it was something different. I think that's toxic. I think that's real toxic. But I think what mainly toxic is fighting and fussing all the time. But I think all of this stuff, it could contribute to the arguments. You know what I mean? Like different stuff.
I think also that someone using somebody else for financial gain, pretending that they are deep in a relationship and that they love them and all these things, and it really they're just there for.
Right.
The financial aspect of it is toxic. I also think that a woman trying to trap a man with a baby is toxic. I mean, there's a plethora of reasons that you could label a relationship as toxic. But there's also toxic friendships too. Relationships with the people that that's your homegirl, your homeboy.
Yeah,
I got a great example of that. There was a chick that I was really good friends with for a long time, from high school actually, and she would always find a way on a public stage to embarrass me, even to the point where she did it at a gathering that was specifically for me. And there was a lot of love in the building for me that night, right? And so she was about that close. She was about that close from getting her ass whipped. Not by me, because I'm a lover, not a fighter.
She can't accept the fact that you were being celebrated.
Yeah, but then it happened once in a celebration of her. Like she got up and made she framed it in a way to be funny, but there were derogatory statements about me in front of people that I had never met before.
Well, yeah, she tried to roast you.
Basically. And it was like every chance, there was an audience, she felt like she needed to do that, and I struggled with that.
Make a joke about you.
Yeah, and I struggled with that for a long time, just trying to figure out like what's her deal.
Oh yeah, I've been around.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of people that my grandma used to tell me that. She said, you just need to get away from a lot of people. And I used to be like, why? She's just like, because they jealous of you, and you can see. I said, jealous of what? I got nothing.
But see, that's...
But they don't know that, though.
Right, and that's the thing. Remember we were talking about earlier, that it looks a certain way from the outside, but when you actually get down to it, it ain't always the way that it seems. Remember them 10 bags of chips you was putting on the counter and you only had $10?
Yeah.
So
the kids too.
Yeah.
Your kids can be toxic.
Oh,
that's a relationship. You can have toxic kids.
I can touch it. Thanks.
Yeah, you can have toxic kids, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna go in deep with that, but you know what I'm saying? Not disrespected, but you know.
Kids can be manipulative.
Yeah. And then they could be in a situation where they don't feel like that they got what they wanted as a child, or they didn't live the life that somebody else that they know lived, and all that kind of stuff. It could give you a hard time. You know what I mean? They could be like, oh, like I have a child that just tells this awful story about me and their mother. Like, to like anybody that's got 2 ears, that's she gonna have a night if she get, you know how people talk when they get high. You know what I'm saying? And then, man, this person wasn't there for me like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's so far from the truth. I just don't even know where they get it from. I've even said, hey, let's talk about it a few times. And I was like, and then when they start telling the story, I'd be like, well, that's not true. And I guess that triggers them because it's like, okay, this is my truth. And I'm like, but that's just not true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how you feel is just so far away from the truth that I just, I don't even know where they even come up with this stuff at. You know what I mean?
So, have you ever been in a toxic relationship?
I'm in a toxic relationship with everybody. I'm in a toxic relationship with my kid. I'm in a toxic relationship with my wife. I'm in a toxic relationship with my brothers and sisters. My whole life is full of toxic relationships.
So you don't think it's you?
No, it's not. I promise you, it's not. I promise you.
You in a toxic relationship with everybody, and you're not the common. Okay,
no, because you know what I mean. I'm who I am, and I'm not gonna be anybody different. But I don't bother nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like this.
So you're not perfect, but you're not problematic.
No, they bring the stuff. They bring the stuff to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I give you an example. Like my wife, and she don't mind me talking about her on the podcast.
Good, because I was a little concerned.
No. Like my wife,
I was concerned, sister.
No. My wife, she just if I don't take her on a trip, for 6 months, she'll just come to me with all kind of noise and complaining and all kind of stuff. And that's not toxic. That's not me.
You're my husband, and I need a vacation. Where we going? That's not toxic.
Yeah, but it's like, like I say, toxic is like, to me, it's like arguing all the time about something. Like, and I just.
Do you take her every 6 months?
We used to go somewhere 5 times a year.
But do you take her somewhere every 6 months?
Not anymore. Like I
Why?
I had to calm down off of it because it drains your pockets. You know what I mean? Then a lot of
then do more bails. I mean, I don't do more bonds.
It ain't as easy like that. Like, it's got to come to a point where you got to start. Like, if
I want to go on a vacation,
I'm 8 years older.
Get out on the track, brother.
Yeah, I'm 8 years older than her. I was down with the fun life. Like our first half of our marriage. Like I said, we was somewhere 5 times a year. Like constantly somewhere doing something. People, you be like, damn, boy, y'all rich. Y'all go someplace else. I said, man, I got friends that can't take but 1 vacation a year. Some of them might could squeeze 2 in, and some of them can't squeeze not 1 in. And we just going somewhere 5 times a year just as successful.
What does what your friends can do and what you can do have anything to do with
you? But I don't want to go 5 times.
I'm speaking on behalf of your wife.
I don't want to go 5 times a year.
I mean, I get it. Can we go once a year? Can we go twice a year?
Yeah. I mean, we go somewhere once or twice a year, but I'm just saying, like, about that 6-month period, if we don't go nowhere, boy, I won't catch hell.
Well, you set that standard, though.
Yeah. No, I didn't set that standard.
Are you sure?
No, I didn't say let's go somewhere. That was her. Let's travel. Let's do this. And I just was a supportive husband. But it wasn't nothing that I'm older. I'm 8 years older than her. So, I'm thinking retirement. She still thinking fun, you know what I'm saying? And then, so a couple of years, she went somewhere 7 times 1 year. And I was just like, yo, you a travel junkie. I was like, you need help. Like, I was like, just telling her that, like, you need help. Like, you went somewhere and then 3 weeks later, you somewhere else. And then, you know what I mean? And, not to dig in too deep, but, if you're going somewhere that many times, you definitely touching in during the school year.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Now I'm still here. I didn't go all 7 times. So, I'm still there, playing house and stuff. So you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, shoot. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta slow down. I just had to put my foot down. And like going into 2024, I was like, yo, I'm not doing nothing this year. And I still wound up going 2 places. Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying? But I put my foot down in 2024. In 2025, I think we've been 1 place this year. I think we've been 1 place.
Well, it's only half of the year's gone, so
yeah,
where y'all going before the year's up?
She done been a couple places, but I've only been once. Yeah, I've been once. And then we supposed to go to Baltimore.
Baltimore ain't nowhere?
No, she go overseas. I don't really deal with the overseas stuff. Them be the trips that I don't go on, like to Dominican and all that kind of stuff. Because it'll be like 7 days. I can't leave my phone behind. And like, and
that's valid.
Yeah, I depend on. That's what I use to make money. Like all of that going on them boats and you know what I mean and all that stuff. Man, that went out the door when I left Galliana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was with Galliana, you come back to a vacation check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't coming back to a vacation check then, you know what I mean? My life is way different than, you know, you have vacation time.
You know I know.
Yeah,
I know.
You got vacation time, you come back to a big fat check. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming back to the struggle.
Yeah. So what do you think about toxic, you mentioned your brothers and your cousins. What do you think about the toxic family dynamic? I know we talked about toxic elders.
But that's easier than like wife and kids, but like family, like brothers and sisters, man, I just don't deal with it. You know what I mean? I don't owe them nothing. They don't owe me nothing. I don't have to do it. I don't have to pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a person told me this a long time ago, and I still didn't listen to him. But my Uncle Floyd, before he died, he told me, he said, if you got to pay to hang with him, you don't need to be hanging with him. You know what I'm saying? If me hanging with you, I got to pay. I got to give you $20, buy the beer. When back in them days we was smoking at them trees. I gotta I gotta provide the trees, provide the liquor.
For you to come hang out with me, then
pay to get in the club.
Yeah.
Come pick you up. You know what I'm saying? A lot. If I got to do all of that just to hang, just to be your friend and be your brother, be your sibling. You know what I'm saying? Your cousin, your first cousin. If I got to do all of that, like I got cousins be saying, man, when you gonna come down to Winsboro to hang with us? I ain't coming.
Winsboro?
Yeah, if I go down there, whenever time I get back home, hey, bro, I'm kind of...
Why were you from Winsboro?
Kind of short of my family from Great Falls, so they kind of branch off to Winsboro because they right next to each other.
Yeah, I know about Fairfield County.
Yeah, my family all in Fairfield County. My mama's side is Fairfield County and Eastover. So, you know what I mean? They country. You know what I mean? And I ain't never been raised like around all of that. You know what I mean? So they just different. So when I hang with them, you know, when I do hang with them, like I hang, basically the younger crowd I can't do. Yeah. But the older, like my grandmama, I don't party with my grandmama's sisters. Like she had baby sisters, like they like 60 now and you know 65 now. Well, most of them passed away. But they like, you know, the ones that still living like 65. I done hang with them at Greens and stuff. Like I don't actually don't. Like I actually can chill with them, but it just be like the younger crowd. They just be soon as they cut you think, you know, you could do this for me, like you know, you looking at me different. You don't look at me like I got bills to pay just because I want to dress nice or I'm driving a nice car.
It goes back to that outside looking in.
Yeah, that's toxic. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you pocket watching, that's toxic. You know what I mean? Because you bringing a whole nother dynamic to where we can't even chill together. If I invite you to a cookout and you just looking around my house, oh, this nice. You know what I mean? Like,
girl, that's all you. This
like I work for it. Like it ain't like it was given to me or I'm lucky. You know what I mean? And like they think I'm lucky or something like that, and like luck is luck is a poor man's interpretation of hard work. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You sitting on the sideline, you think I got lucky, but you didn't watch my work.
That blood, sweat, and tears, and that lying awake at night. Like
I work a lot harder than what I want to be working right now. Yeah. And they just take that as, you know. So they're toxic. I don't fool with it. I'm done with it. Like my cousins and brothers are Live Oak Entertainment. You know what I mean? I got a couple people I do business with in the bail bond that I got good relationships that we on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Me and my mother's always on the same page in life. You know what I mean? And I just deal with them. You know what I mean? And then you know I deal with my wife because most of the time we on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
Because you know you do get to a point in your life where you mature enough and you grow enough to where the people that you used to hang out with, the people that you used to, even your family, you don't want to be around that same drama. And every time you talk to them, something else is going on, and it's draining. And you just, it's not that you acting funny or moving different. You're growing, and you don't want to be a part of that craziness no more.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you know what I mean, and then, a lot of people like friends and family, I think it's like toxic. Just like they feel like you owe them something. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I think they make the situation toxic because they feel like, you know what I mean? They make you feel different. They bring drama to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because they have some kind of insecurity or something like that, like, you know what I mean? Like I've literally given like let people around me and I try to show them things and stuff like that. And then you know, we be out and about and you know what I mean? I may be, you know, treating everybody, you know what I mean? Because for one, I'm just a giving person. So it didn't even matter if I had money. You know what I mean? Even when I was working at Galliana, busting my ass, like going there all freaking day long, you know what I mean? I still went to the bar and bought drinks, you know what I mean? That's not, you know what I mean? That's something that I've always done, like even from a kid. Like I've always took my sister, you know, my pregnant sister or something, came by and dropped $200 to her, and I probably only had $300 in my pocket. That's just.
But you got it back though, didn't you?
Yeah. Because God gonna always. I just was raised. My mother and my grandmother were the most givingest people that I ever seen. I was just raised like that. You know what I mean? My daddy was hardcore with money. Like he would cuss you out if you asked him for something, and I just never wanted to be like that. You know what I'm saying? Like not that he wasn't a good man, but if you asked him for something, you was gonna get cussed out first, and then he would give it to you, but
you was gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah. It almost got to the point where like he would do that just so you wouldn't ask. You know what I'm saying? But like my mama and my grandmother, like they took care of everybody. They sold if they didn't have money, they sold clothes for you. They baked cakes. Like they just really was like giving people. My grandma gave her whole life to the church. You know what I'm saying? Like. You know, it's just that's how it was. But that intimidates people, and they make the situation toxic. Like the people around you, like they like, oh, this you around here spending that and acting like that, and you know what I mean. I got things that's due, you know what I mean. But that's not my problem. Like you was here just chilling with me. You know what I mean? And
why was you out working if you was here?
But if you asked me for it, I would have just gave it to you. But for you to be upset with me because I'm spending money and you can't, you know what I mean? Or
that's a personal. That's a you problem.
You may have even mentioned it to me like, yeah, man, goddamn, man, I don't, if I don't, take care of these school fees, man, well,
closed mouth don't
and
get
I'll be
fed.
like, well, how much you need, well, nah. I don't want you to do nothing like, and then
you make it plain. You better mean what you say and say what you mean.
And then when we start, just sitting around chilling, you just blow up on me because you got like you feel like you don't have to ask for something. Like I should have just peeped the play and just said,
well, and I think that's toxic too.
Yeah.
I think that's something that should be addressed too, because when you do start giving to somebody out of the kindness of your heart. I think some people have an expectation of you to continue doing that. And I think that's a toxic dynamic in a relationship.
But
where
people feel like you owe them. You know what I mean? They feel like you owe them. And I done had people that work for me and they know how much I pay, chose to take the job, but they might be doing my books or something and see, oh, damn, he could be paying me more than that. No, that's the business. You know what I'm saying? The rate is the rate.
My price is my price.
My price is my price. You chose to do that price.
So that's why I've always been very careful about my quotes. And whenever we go do a service for somebody in their house, that they give the money directly to me. Because you don't need to know these people paying me $500 and I'm only paying you $20 an hour. You don't need to know that. Ain't none of your business.
Ain't none of your business. Yeah, exactly. But that's a toxic employees. That's why I say everybody around me is toxic. From employees, I got a couple kids that's toxic. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna go ahead. I don't want my sons to feel like I'm talking about them because they real good and one of them special needs, but the other one is real good and independent. I got a couple girls that just they just do not, you know what I mean? They just do not understand, you know what I'm saying, what life is about. Like, and they didn't inherit my heart. So you know what I'm saying? So it's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough to deal with them because I deal from here. and they deal from they deal from anger. You know what I mean?
So when you identify that somebody that you love is toxic and you can't not deal with them, how do you handle it?
I mean, I'm just to the point at this age, but my old age, my younger age has stressed me out. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna let these niggas kill me. Like I'm not going out. Right. I'm not going out. Well, I don't know how I'm going out because God knows that. But I'm gonna do my best not to go out like with no damn heart attack where I'm just sitting somewhere and I'm just all stressed out and then and next thing you know I'm clutching my chest and stuff and it could happen. Yeah, because I still have an amount of stress, but you know what I mean. They add extra stress, and when it doesn't need to be any stress, like really, like a couple of these people, like really, I'm taking care of you, like I'm providing you a situation for you to flourish, and you're
not taking it,
and you're looking at me like you're sitting there like, yeah,
you can't.
I wonder how much he's getting. I'm wondering what he's doing. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, he working hard, but he can't spend time with personal time with me, and that's a good gripe for a kid. It's not a good gripe for an adult. Once your kids get older, you don't got no right to tell me you know what I do at my time, or if you have a child, what what I'm saying, And just to put this on record, what I'm saying, that's not fair. That's toxic, and it's not fair to me. It's because not. Especially, I have girls. All my girls, I'm not afraid to say it. All my girls had kids in high school. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still working. So I can't be the granddaddy on the porch. Right. Slinging the car around and taking them to the park and doing all that. I'm still working the job, and they don't live around the corner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If they lived around the corner,
be different.
Drop them off for a little while, and then come back and get them a bunch. Because I have stepdaughters, and then I have stepdaughters. I have an adopted daughter.
Give me a roundabout. Give me a round number.
I think it's 8.
Shit.
I think it's 8. Yeah, I think it's 8. And I'm 40. I'm 48. I'm not even old enough to retire yet. Granddaddy.
What you do Christmas time?
Oh, I take care of them. Everybody gets something. It ain't what they be probably complaining about that. Who got what? You know what I'm saying? Like these, not all of them. Now I'm not even gonna say all of them. It's just a couple of them that I just don't understand, and I love them. I know them. You know what I mean? We've been around each other many years, 25 years, 26 years, you know what I mean? But it's just like, and I love them to death, but it's just like hard to deal with the toxic part of it. And I know some of it may be mental health and stuff like that, but if you won't get that help, you can't project that on me. Like, I'm not the enemy. Never been any of my kids' enemies. I've never been any of my friends' enemies. Now, I have been a bad boyfriend. I have been I have been a bad boyfriend. I've been a bad husband. I've never been a bad father, and I've never been a bad friend. You know what I'm saying? So from that side, the friend and the fatherly side of it, I just don't get it. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean, the woman part of it, you know what I mean. Yeah, I've been I've deserved some toxic
karma
with that. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean. But not, and I haven't been a bad boss either. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of being a bad husband and a bad boyfriend, what's the most toxic thing you've ever done in a relationship?
I don't want to say.
Oh, hell.
Never admit to that.
I'm not talking about something you're going to take to the grave. I'm talking about something that's for the good of the audience.
Oh, good of the audience?
Not something that's going to get you killed.
Nah, I mean, shoot. I don't know, man. I'm a functioning alcoholic, so it could be.
That's life. That's not toxic.
Yeah, it could be one of something I could have been mean. I could have down.
I can tell you something that happened to me.
Downgrade. I've been known to downgrade people. I've been known to.
What does that even mean?
I've been known to say, "You sorry ass motherfucker, get away from me. You ain't shit." You know what I mean? I've been known to talk a little aight. I ain't proud of it. It's not funny. You got me laughing because you laughing, but it's not funny though. I done talked a little shit now. I done talked a lot of shit. My son, mom, I said, mom, she's a good woman. I don't apologize to her like that no more, but I used to have to apologize to her like every time I said, I was like, I deserve what I got out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was just awful and shit.
Wally.
And the whole family was good to me and everything, and I still wasn't.
And you still wasn't nothing.
Man, shit, I used to downgrade her real bad. And then the bad thing about it, what hurts me the most now about that, she never got married or anything. So I would just be wondering.
Because she's probably traumatized.
I was like wondering like that. I traumatized. But I don't look at myself like as somebody that could traumatize somebody. But you never know.
Don't underestimate your power, especially when the other person that you're dealing with loves you.
Yeah, but you never know. Like, I don't even think she's been close to getting married. Like, I like my other baby mamas. They done had other long relationships. Like, I just never known her to be like in a long relationship or anything like that. Like, but she don't want me, not at all. But she just, she looked at me as like the scum of the earth for like a long time. I don't want to, because not for nothing. But being in the dating pool like we talked about before, it's crazy out here now. Yeah, I was mean. I was a cheater.
And there's more meanness in people that cheat and lie and steal and need a place to stay. And then there are people that are actually looking for something real and not trying to get over on somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something funny though. It's like my son didn't talk to me for like 3-4 months, and I would just call him. He wouldn't answer. I was like, I wanted to his mama finally tell him how awful I was to her. I was like, God damn, why would she wait this long? Because she like never badmouthed me that I know of. Like, she probably just say, your dad was a cheater, but you know what I mean? She ain't never just say everything that happened, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a bad relationship.
So did you find out why he wouldn't talk?
Yeah, it had something to do with something else. But it didn't have nothing to do. It was a misunderstanding on both. It was a misunderstanding on his part, but he has a heart. So he saw something. He heard something that I did, and he had a heart, and it just broke his heart. And he didn't want to talk about it because I'm the same way too. Like, I get where he coming from. Like, if you like really piss me off, I won't talk to you for a while. You know what I mean? I don't like to argue and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not my thing to be sitting up there arguing. Because I get mad. So it's just not like, you know what I mean? If you break it, I'll sit there and take a lot of stuff. But if you get me to where I'm arguing, then now I'm upset. Like, I'm really upset if you got me arguing with you. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just rather just not say nothing. And it's hard to do that like in a marriage or something like that, but you can do that.
Yeah, you can't walk away from it.
Yeah, you can do that to the outside world. So he just shut off for a little bit, but we ain't miss a beat. And then when we finally got it straightened out, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it wasn't even nothing to talk about, you know, because I know what kind of heart he got, and I know he inherited my heart, and you know what I'm saying? So I know how he feel about certain things, and I know how he feel about his siblings, and I know, you know, what triggered him to, to feel that way. But he's not by no means a toxic kid. Like, he's just, man, you couldn't ask for a better child, even though we had, we had that. It
happens.
That was the first time that I could ever remember that we even had a disagreement.
Wow.
Okay. And our whole life, we actually stayed together a lot. And you know what I'm saying? I beat him one time. I had to spank him one time. You know what I mean? And I mean, after that, and I had to get on him one time. I heard him talking to his mother kind of off one time, and I got on him about that. But other than that, I really ain't never even had to like.
That sounds like Terry and Cameron.
Yeah, I never.
He's only had to beat her one time, and that's
right.
That's it. Now, I would text that tail every chance I got because she was something else.
But a daddy's girl.
Yeah.
And like, usually your daughters are daddies, like, you know what I mean? Like my daughters like clean to me and stuff for advice, but it's just like, you know what I mean? I think like a couple of them, the older they got, they just felt like they was neglected, and I don't understand that.
Have you talked to them about
That's toxic.
before we label it as toxic, have you talked to them about it?
Oh yeah. We work it out, but then you know what I mean, they go back to feeling that way. So I'm
there's
just like
still something underlying.
Yeah, I mean they need to talk to a counselor or something like that. I can't help them with that.
Okay, you don't want to go lay on that lady couch with them?
I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
Right.
I don't have time for all that because I know who I am. You know what I mean? I know who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I love who I am.
Okay,
like I don't have to go back.
All right, wait a minute.
To figure out.
Time out, coach. I'm gonna call you out. Time out, coach. Time out. Saying that's just how I am. That's toxic. That's just how I am, and I'm not the one with the problem. That's what you just said.
Oh yeah. But when I say that's how I am, I'm just saying like I'm the type of person that's gonna tell you when you're wrong, and I can't. And I'm not gonna curse you out about it, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat a situation. Like if you're not doing something that you're supposed to be doing, I'm gonna tell you. Like if you come to me for advice, I probably won't say nothing. But if you come to me and ask, I'm gonna tell you like, yeah, like I wouldn't do things that way, blah blah blah. Now if you're the type of person that triggers you and you get upset that a man or your father or a boyfriend, or if you're the type of person that and you can't take, or a parent period. I have one child, she just can't take anything a parent says, period. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter whether it's me or grandmama or mama or uncle or brother, anybody that's older than this person and they say something to her and it's not what she wants to hear or not what she feels, it's going to be a toxic situation, and it's going to get it's going to get serious because they just don't know how to communicate to the point where it gets nasty. You know what I mean? Because you can have a disagreement and not get nasty.
Yeah,
you know
of
what I'm
course.
saying? Like you know what I mean? But once you get nasty with somebody, then the other person has a right to get nasty back.
Right.
And the other person has a right to tell you something that they may have been holding in and just didn't want to tell you because they knew it would trigger you. So they didn't want to tell you that. But you know what I mean? But when an argument starts, they tell you that and then you turn out.
So you don't think that is a little toxic?
All of it's toxic.
Okay.
But my whole thing is that I don't bother people. Like, I could go a whole day and just say, hey, hello, how y'all doing? Good, all right, good. But they're going to bring some kind of problem to me. And like everybody, employee, wife, child, they're going to bring
I've
it to
had
me.
to separate and pull myself back from being the problem solver because I found that I was the head decision maker and problem solver for a lot of the people in my circle.
The problem solver is going to look like the problem.
Right. Now that you put it like that,
the problem solver is going to turn out to be the villain.
How I've combat that whole scenario and just that dynamic is whenever somebody calls me with something as far as needing advice or what do I do now, if it's something that I have an opinion about, especially in their situation, the first thing I ask them, do you want me to listen? You want me to listen, or do you what you want me to do? You want me to give you my advice? Because I'm not gonna sit here and waste my breath if you asking me for my advice and you're not gonna do what I'm telling you to do. Because if I hadn't done nothing else in this 52 years that I've been alive, I done lived, okay, and I done been through a lot of stuff, and some stuff because of the intuition that I have, I can see it coming. I know how it's gonna end. But are you going to listen to me? Are you going to listen to me? So what you want from me? You want me to listen to you, or you want me to tell you?
They want you to say that they're right.
I'm not.
That's why
they
came. That's what they coming to you for.
Nah, but I'm not gonna. I just can't continue to.
I hate when they come to me.
Co-sign on something that's not that I don't feel in my soul is right. Like this is what it is, and I pride myself in being neutral and being non-judgmental, and I think that's the reason why so many people do come to me with all their stuff. It's because I am non-judgmental and I didn't hurt it all. Like when I was growing up, my mom and dad were very conservative. They were very strict. And there was a lot of things that I wanted to talk to my mom and dad about.
But you couldn't.
But I couldn't because,
I was
grew up in the church and there was just certain things that you just didn't talk about.
I was the same way. Just an Islamic household.
Right.
But the same kind of structure, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so told myself that when I did have children, that I wanted the kids to be able to come to me and tell me anything.
Right.
And they do. Now, some of that stuff I don't want to hear. But I have to keep a straight face because I want them to be able to come to me.
I think that was a problem for me, yeah.
Yeah. And that poker face that I have for my kids, listening to all that stuff they say to me, it's eked over to my relationships with my friends. So they come and tell me everything. And I'm looking at them like, some of this
you the ear.
telling me I don't want to hear, but I'm going to listen because I'm your friend.
Yeah, you the ear. And that's the same thing I told my child. We got into it the other day. And I told her, I said, I don't even want to talk about all that. Because I already know where this is going to go. You're trying to pick a fight with me. And I said, because that's how it always starts, is that you come to me for something or come to me with something. And I say something like, nah, I wouldn't do it that way. Nah, that's not the way it would go about that. Or nah, I wouldn't do things like that. You know what I mean? No, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? You're wrong. You're not doing this right and this and this. And it's just like you just wanted me to say, okay, yeah, I got your back. It's great. You know what I mean? Life's great. Life's peachy. It's just a part of life. Just keep fucking up. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want. That's what you want me to say. Keep
okay.
Keep fucking up. You're gonna figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you want me to say. But I'm not the person you want to bring your problems to, but everybody brings their problems to me. Yeah. I go the whole day, I don't bring my problems to nobody. The only person, if I ever in a situation where I just gotta talk to somebody, I'll call my mother. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? People like us, if we do take what we got going on to somebody else, a lot of people can't handle it. They'll be like, damn, that's what you're dealing with?
Yeah. But when I call my mama, if it's about a female, she's rarely on my side. If it's about life, business, she's going to give me great advice, da-da-da-da. But if it's about a female...
She's going to ask you, what'd you do? What'd you say?
Man, she going to be on me. She going to send me, they call them scriptures in the Bible is called surahs in the Quran. She's going to send me surahs. She's going to...
Thanks, Mom.
She's going to send me
you
all
know your
kind
son.
of...
Thank you.
All kind of literature to Google and... It's just gonna be so much. It's gonna be an overload of information.
She know who she raised.
Yeah, and yeah. When I come to her with something like it's got to be like real serious. If I can't deal with it, because I'm just used to dealing with my own stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like certain things. Like I seen so much death. Like some of the stuff y'all complaining about
is crazy. Like
it just
first world problems. Like it's not in the big scheme of things. Yeah. People dying, people sick. Somebody just lost somebody they never thought that they would live without, and you complaining about something that's so insignificant that it's just
right. Yeah, like
and I try not to get aggravated with people that come to me with stuff like that because
it's aggravating.
But because I do want to help people, but I also get weary of having to deal with insignificant little stuff when you can see the big picture, but then that's just maturity.
And I think that's part of my toxic part of the situation is that when people do come to me with that kind of stuff, I just look at them and I might like.
So I hadn't gotten to the point where
what are we talking about?
Yeah,
like,
I hadn't gotten to that point yet, but I'm getting to the point where it's just like, are you really talking about this right now? Yeah.
My wife's been fighting cancer for the last 4 years, just sitting here talking about, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, you're sitting there talking about an insurance payment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, forget your insurance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got people been driving around with no insurance.
Right.
People that hit me a couple times, they ain't had no damn insurance.
Lord.
They still driving, you know what I mean? This person may die, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? What is you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah. Oh, you got bills? Okay, yeah. I don't see
got bills.
I don't see a dime until 11. And now that I got that condo, it's even more than that. But I don't see a dime. But back before the condo, I didn't see a dime of money until I spent like $11,500 in bills. Like, so if you got bills and you sitting there, you know, telling me about life, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, I've been 25 before. I've been 26. I got a kid that's 20. I've been 20. I got a kid that's 12. I've been 12. You know what I'm saying? I've been all them ages, and I can tell you right now, we was in a lot worse situation than what y'all are in.
What you complained about?
Yeah,
right?
like the 20-year-old don't complain. He didn't think he always trying to help me out. But, even though we might have had a little spat, but he always been helpful to me. But like even the little one that has special needs, he feels like he doesn't have what everybody else has, and that could be true. But you know what I mean, and that could be true. But that's something that I learned. You can't keep breaking yourself over stuff that you have no control over.
Right.
Like I just had to learn. That just come with maturity. Like I got no control over this. I got no control over that. You know what I mean? Like I respect it. You know what I mean? I've been in a situation. At 12 years old, we were poor. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My son, sometimes he tells me at 12 years old, Daddy, I'm poor. So you're not poor. You got a place to stay. Mm-hmm. You got clothes. You got me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When you come over my house, am I living better than where you and your mom's living? Probably so. But you're not at the age where I can tell you what I've tried to do and what she's turned down. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's nothing that I can do about that. I'm not going to let that stress me out. And even though I feel...
Because you did your due diligence by
even though I feel his pain is nothing that I could help.
Right.
But even at 12 years old, you know what I mean, he stayed in some nicer places than what I was staying in at 12. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even at 20 years old, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Well, I can't say that. Come on, go. But even at 20 years old, I was breaking the law and stuff like that, and I was still in school and things like that.
You was already out the porch at 12?
No, at 20. My son has way more money than I had at 20. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? He's been working since he got out of high school, but like he doesn't complain about nothing. But I'm just saying, just progressing. Mm-hmm. My 25-year-old, you got a car, you got a nice place to stay, you got one child. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That I was getting ready to have another child at that age. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all got way more going for y'all, and you know what I'm saying? Y'all got a support system, because I turned down my support system because my support system, they wasn't gonna help me in wrongdoing. If I was doing wrong, they wasn't gonna help me.
I ain't mad at them.
No, I'm not mad at them anyway.
I'm not mad at that.
And I'm the same way now.
Yeah. You never thought it would get to that. Yeah.
I'm the same way now. I'm not gonna support you in wrongdoing. If you don't know how to save money, or if you get money and you gotta get high, or you gotta drink.
That's on you.
That's on you. When I was, I'm not paying your bills while you have a good time. Mm-hmm. And when I was 25, my mama didn't do that to me. When I was 26, my mama didn't do that for me. When I was 30, my mama didn't do that for me. And I could say by the time I got to 28, 29, 30, I would no longer even think about even calling her. I was taking care of her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You need anything? You know what I mean? You got anything like that? Just comes over with life. But by the time you get over 25 and all that kind of stuff, and you're no longer in school, and you're no longer in I got a couple of daughters that, I got one that just graduated from college. Like, she's really doing good. I'm proud of her. And then I got one, she's trying to find her way, you know what I'm saying? She's in school and stuff. And then I got one that owns a business. You know what I mean? That owns a business. But you can't own a business, or you can't be a college graduate or whatever, or you can't be in school and then you say things like, you know what I mean, like I don't got this, I don't got that. You got a lot. You know what I mean? If you're a college graduate, you know what I'm saying, you have the means now to take care of yourself. If you're in school, then I understand if you're struggling.
She got a job already?
She could get one. She's a smart girl. She already got a job, but she can get a way better job now.
Oh, got it.
You know what I mean? But I don't have that. That's not even.
Speaking of business,
yeah, that's not even.
D&W is getting ready to celebrate 9 years in business, homeboy.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. June 13th.
Right.
9 years in business.
Yeah, I'm coming up on my fourth anniversary or something.
That's what's
fourth
up.
anniversary.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but yeah. My whole thing is, man, I just come from a tough family. Mm-hmm. Hard workers, you know what I mean? You can't be in the bed at 9 o'clock and tell me that you're struggling. You know what I mean? You missed 3 hours already. Stuff you could, you know what I'm saying? You missed 3 hours. You should have been up 6, 7, 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like 9, 10 o'clock. You still in bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, man, my grandmama would have kicked my ass if I was. I can't make it to 7:30 in my grandmama's house. Like, I never stayed with her, but when I go over there, if I fall asleep over there or something and stay the night, because when I stayed in Swansea, she'd be like, "Oh, you look tired. Don't drive all the way back down there." I'd be like, "All right, I stay the night. I think I can get me some rest a little bit. I ain't got to be to work till 11. I ain't got to be to Galliana till like 11. I'll get up. Why she say, come get some breakfast. Do this, do that. Come fix this for me." You know what I mean? Like, I'm working and you ain't, man, old people. And I'm old now.
That might be toxic.
I don't,
Let
I'm
me
old.
sleep, Grandma.
I'm old, no. My
grandma, let me sleep.
Nobody. You can't stand no old folk house like that, boy, sleeping all day. They don't go for that.
So
they'll go for that.
At the end of the day, I think we all have some toxic traits. I think we've all been in a toxic situation. As far as relationships and friendships, and there's always going to be a toxic dynamic in your family. And I think age and maturity has taught me that some things you just got to deal with, and things just aren't going to change. And it's the only thing that you can change as far as toxicity is concerned is in a relationship. You can choose to not be a part of that anymore. You can't choose your family, but you certainly can choose your friends, and you can choose who your significant other is.
But you can choose not to deal with family too.
Well, yeah, you can.
You don't. I mean, it's nothing that says you got to deal with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at in life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if you got positive vibe, positive energy, I'm trying to stay away from the toxic stuff. If you got positive vibe, positive energy, I want positive employees. I want positive business partners. I want positive, you know what I mean? I just want positivity around me at this age, at this stage in my life, because I've seen all the toxic stuff.
And we got more life behind us than we do in front of us.
Yeah. So in front of me, I don't want to see, I don't want to deal with that. Like, you got to take that some stuff somewhere else. Yeah. Like, whether you friends, family, you know what I mean, employee, you know what I mean, whoever you are, you know what I mean, you could, you know, I got Lexington County, they toxic.
The whole county? The whole county?
The people that put the fines on bondsmen, they just stay on your butt all day. I just be like, look here, I get to you when I got it. You know what I mean? Like, look here, get to you when I got it. Like, just don't bother me about stuff like that. Like, I got other things that.
But I think that at this stage in our life, the only thing that we want, let me just speak for myself, but I think I'm speaking for you as well. The only thing that we want is peace.
Is peace.
And no chaos.
None.
But there's some people that thrive on chaos and division and confusion.
They're not happy.
And they're not happy. And that's just not something that I choose to be around. I'm not going to be around it.
If you're not happy, then I understand.
Yeah.
And then we can, you know, before we leave, you know what I mean, when I got fired from Galliana, so me and the manager, we just had a toxic, Carlos. Me and Carlos just had a toxic relationship. Now, that was toxic. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, I didn't like him, he didn't like me. You know what I'm saying? So when they decided, like, okay, this got to end, we got to choose one. Of course, they're going to choose, even though I've been there longer, they're going to choose the manager.
Over the employee.
Right. And he was assistant manager. He wasn't even like the big dog or anything. But so anyway, they choose him. So when they fired me, they brought me in, and the guy said, you know, Scott Rose, you know Scott. So he says, you know, man, you know.
Scott kicked me out of the dealership and told me I couldn't come back. But that's a different.
What?
Yeah, he did. Go ahead.
You got upset?
Me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, anyway. Damn, that's a story I want to hear about. But yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, so when he fired me, he said, and this is my view on life now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, Scott was an asshole, but he'd drop a jewel on you every once in a while. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned when he fired me, and I say this now when I have to part ways with people, is I say, hey, you know, we had a good run. But, you know what I mean? I respect you, and I hope that you respect me. But this is just like, you know, I love you, and you may love me, but this is a bad marriage. So, you know what I'm saying? And anytime you have a bad marriage, you know what I mean, you can sit there and you can sit in the bad marriage, and it could just get worse, and it could get worse, or you could just decide that, hey, it's just best for us to part ways. And that's what I use in life. Is I say, hey, this is a bad marriage.
Somebody needed to hear that.
I could sit in this bad marriage, or I could just, or it get worse, or we could just say, hey, I love you, and part ways.
Part ways.
Let's
just kiss and say goodbye.
And that's my answer to everything that's toxic. Is, hey,
that's what's up.
Like, we could just kiss and say goodbye. Not kiss and say goodbye. We could just say, hey, I love you, you love me, wish you the best, goodbye.
That's what's up. And if you got a choice, if you got to make a choice between two people, choose the other person. That's the way I look at it. If you got a choice between, go ahead and make the other choice, because.
Yeah, I'm definitely all about peace.
Yeah.
Cause I done already seen like you prosper more when it ain't no aggravation. Like
and you're happy and
right.
free.
Like these last few, it's been some. It's always gonna be some little stuff but these last few years, I've been really even though I done lost a lot of people in these last few years, but it's just been like. So peaceful that I've been able to, even in death, it's been so peaceful that I just been able to just concentrate. You know what I'm saying? When you got all that toxic stuff around you, you can't concentrate.
Yeah, it does definitely cloud your judgment.
And then the people, especially when you're doing business, if you're in a toxic situation and people can see that you're in a toxic situation, it shows on your face.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do business with you. And so we can't have that. We need people to do business with us. We still young, really, and we can't get the Social Security yet.
No,
so
we still got time to shake it up, baby.
Yeah,
we still got time to shake it up.
Yeah.
Well, that concludes this episode of Real Talk with King and Sharif. I am King.
I'm Sharif.
And we out.
Yeah, that was right on the hour, too.